Hello again from More to Life Outfitters. Just going to show you a product we've got in store, and it's called the Speedy Stitcher. I've personally owned one of these for around 30 years. It's American-made products, been around forever. You can use it for sewing awnings, tents, sails, handbags, upholstery, auto top, shoes, sandals, you name it. This thing will stitch it. I've even stitched cardboard together. So I'm just going to do a quick unboxing of it, maybe do a quick pointer or two on it. Now, it's very simple in its design, which me being a simple guy, I like that. So here we go. When you get the Speedy Stitcher, you're going to unscrew this little top right here. And it comes preloaded with thread and 2 needles. You've got an angled needle and a regular needle. Now, I've lost a Speedy Stitcher before and went and bought one from one of the big box stores that wasn't a Speedy Stitcher. And I'm going to tell you right now, stay away from them. If they're not a Speedy Stitcher, don't buy them. Reason I like Speedy Stitcher is the attention to detail. There's a little groove right there that is perfect to hold your thread in so it doesn't catch. It feeds well. The actual needle is the right size to be able to get your thread, your artificial sinew in real easy. The attention to detail in the American-made one, that's the standard. So when you're ready to stitch, and it's even got those 2 little storage spots to stick your needles in, you'll set your needle inside of it, and you'll rotate it around to where the groove in the needle matches the groove that's right there. You're going to set your sinew or your twine inside of there. You're going to thread it into the cap, go over the top, make sure you've got your secondary needle underneath this little lip, and you're just going to screw it back down. Now once you've got that screwed down, you're going to take and pull a little bit of slack out, and whatever amount I'm going to stitch. Let's say I'm going to stitch this side here, and I'm going to stitch this much. My rule of thumb is I pull 4 times the amount I actually have for the surface area I'm going to do. So I'm going to pull one more time, get another length out there, and then I've got enough to do that stitch. Has this little hook here, you always want to loop it around it. And depending on the size of your artificial sinew, you may want to loop it another time. Comes preloaded with a spool of it on there, and you can buy more in various sizes. You can even use just whatever yarn you got around the house, but I found wax nylon works best, or artificial sinew as I call it, works best. Now let's talk about when you start to stitch. I always get a piece of scrap leather, and I've even used cardboard to learn on, so I don't have any money expenditure. I'm going to pre-poke or draw each hole, and I'll tell you a little trick when you're doing your holes, and I didn't do it with this one, I freestyled it. Take a ruler and mark it at whatever you want it at, 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch. Pre-mark your holes. And the next trick I always say that'll help you is when you pre-marked it, fold it over, get it where you want it lined up. I get a book, not a book, but an old magazine, and I pre-score. And the reason I pre-score is I know that it's going to be all the way through, and it's going to be on the same on both sides, and it'll make it easier when you start passing your needle through. Keep your little nubbins out of the way. I've been poked a time or 2 with this, not paying attention to what I'm doing. So once you've pre-scored, you're going to take and you're going to push the needle through that first hole, and you're going to pull, and the reason the wax nylon's what works best in this is you'll see it creates a loop. Now the first time you put it in, I take and I go ahead and pull all that through. And then I pull it back out like this. I find my next set of holes, I push through. Now the tail that you see here, I'm going to work up the loop like we see here. I'm going to take that tail, run it through here like this, pull back through, and it's stitched. And it's a beautiful stitch, I might add. You'll pull on both sides until it's evened and leveled. And you're just going to repeat the process over and over and over till you've got it all stitched the way you want it. Push through, pull down a little bit till you create the loop, and that's where the wax nylon's handy. It grabs, so when you go to pull through, it creates that loop you need. Pull it through, pull through. Even it up, stitch. Same thing, repeat again. And when you get good at it, and I'm by no means a professional with this thing, but I'm adequate. And I had to learn the hard way. There wasn't YouTube when I learned where you could just pull things up and learn how to do it. You had to figure it out on your own or have somebody teach you. And I'm trying to save you guys a little heartache when you get one of these tools. I love it. Feed a little bit more cord out. Try not to twist it too much. And if you twist it too much one way, it'll unravel your twine, your sinew. Twist it the other way, that'll ravel it back up. Set it in your holes. Stitch through, create your gap, feed it through. Boom. Stitch through, create your gap. Pull it through. Pull through. Then you're going to even it up and make sure that they're nice and even all the way through. And I think this is a must-have in any bug-out bag. One, the needle's great for repairs of tarps. It's great for repairs of leather. If you were in a situation where you were taking game and tanning hides, you can stitch the hides, make new shoes, new whatever. I've just found that this tool is very handy, very useful. It's worth the little bit of extra weight you may have in your pack. Now you can just carry a needle or a double needle, but when you get older, you have carpal tunnel, when it's cold weather, it's nice having this big platform to be able to push through, pull through, versus two little needles working them through. If any of you guys get old or are already old, you know what I'm talking about. Your hands hurt with those small, minute activities. And I'm there now. Create your loop, pull through. Now on your final, let's say I'm done stitching this. It's all stitched up. Now I know it's not pretty. I'm not going for pretty. I'm just going for functional. I always double back on the stitches that I had and do it the other direction. And that way you don't have to tie knots. Because knots with wax nylon are actually hard to tie unless you learn a logger's knot or something to that effect. I like the double back method. And you'll just double back on your prior stitch marks. One, it's doubling it up, and then two, it's leaving your tail to where you don't have to tie it if you don't want to. If you're trying to bomb-proof whatever you're doing or make it super stout, then go ahead and tie knots. I'm just going to cut flush using the more I light my fire. I'm just going to pull, and if I've got any tail hanging out here, I'm just going to singe it. If I've got a lighter or a fire or an ember, I'm going to singe those, and that'll usually keep them from coming back through the holes. Now if you're using natural sinew, that ain't going to work. But if you're using the artificial sinew or the wax nylon, that works beautifully. Hope this helps. The Speedy Stitcher, absolutely awesome. American made. Come get them in the store. Get busy doing some crafting. Learn your skills now, not when you're in a panic, in a hurry, or out in the woods. Learn them now. You folks take care. We'll see you soon. More to Life Outfitters. Corner Andersonville Highway North Freeway in Andersonville, Tennessee. Take care.